here's my picks for UFC Abu Dhabi, and here's the uh, the prelim opener: Cody Gibson versus Abdul Hussein. I'm pretty sure Cody Gibson is probably gonna get chinned. He just got chinned in like what 10 seconds or something crazy like that by a guy who's pretty pretty bad. Um, but I guess the guy had power or whatever. But there's no excuse for getting immediately caught no more than 10 seconds in. Abdul Hussein is a power puncher guy. He has the better record, but he is a bit shorter. That's a 5-inch disadvantage he has. Could be interesting to see how he does early on, but it'll probably go along the lines of a first or second round knockout. He could choke and go to a decision. Highly doubt it. But, Cody Gibson did make Damone Blackshear look like absolute shit for the very first bit of their fight. So you never know how they could look. But we move on. Narulo Alaviev versus fucking Mike Davis. Wow. Two of the most inactive guys in the division, huh? UFC is really thinking here, huh? Aliev probably wins. He's probably mindful of the grappling of Mike Davis, specifically on the ground. Aliev isn't that good. He doesn't seem to be the kind of guy you would imagine could be a top contender at any point. Mike Davis, on the other hand, he's had some very interesting fights, but seeing how he took Mitch Ramirez to a second round doesn't look very good after Chase Hooper just smoked him in 2 minutes or something. I think it's safe to say Aliev wins the decision. Aliev, or whatever the hell his name is. Or he could just, get subbed immediately. Some shit like that. Some crazy stuff like that. Magomed Tuchala versus Brenson Hiberio. Hiberio's trash. Tuchala looks pretty. He looks like he's a monster, but Hiberio's that type of guy to just, fucking catch a win out of nowhere when he really shouldn't. Crazy ass odds, but are pretty easy to see why. Pretty sure Tuchalov just sleeps everybody. I don't think he's been to a decision ever, or close to one. Hiberio got beat by that fat little midget, Mirzakhanov. In the first round immediately. He was very patient, getting his ass whipped a little bit. Then he got caught and finished. Tuchalov should win quite easily, but Hiberio could just fucking pull it out of nowhere. Just grab it, take a win for no reason, just pull it out of his ass. You never know. Shit happens. Ismael Bonfim versus Axel Sola. Bonfim isn't good. He's kind of a quitter. He has horrible cardio. Not horrible, but he doesn't have good cardio. Sola, on the other hand, can put on a pace, and he's significantly bigger. He beat Reese McKee in his debut and then had that war with Mason Jones on the Paris card. Bonfim, he beat Terrence McKinney, which doesn't look too great in hindsight. He looked good against him, but that was fucking ages ago. 3 years ago at this point? And Bonfim really hasn't looked the best. He lost to Sadikov. Doesn't look good looking back. He ate a question mark kick right in his eyeball or whatever, but yeah, I don't think Bonfim will win. I think he'll get tired from the pace of Sola. But Sola has been pressured, but it's just all about the volume, and Bonfim doesn't seem to handle the volume quite well. I think Axel Sola either a decision or a second round finish. After Bonfim thinks, oh, I got this guy, and then just fucking moving on. Ponzinibbio versus Sam Patterson. Santiago Ponzinibbio. Bro, Unc needs to retire. He has been chinned so much, bro. Especially that Daniel Rodriguez fight, bro. It was nasty. Sam Patterson's kind of... He's a bit iffy. He's good. I don't know if he'll chin Ponzinibbio. I could see him submitting him, because Ponzinibbio is not that guy anymore. He does have a win over Sean Strickland. People forget. But, yeah, I think Patterson is an easy win here. Should be a submission. He's taller. He has the better, he's younger. I think he's just better all around. Even though Ponzinibbio does have some, experience under his belt. But I don't think that he'll get it done. He's been out for a little bit. Old. Just, he ain't winning this. He could, get, a fucking Yanel Ashmoose KO if he just whiffs overhands or yeets him over his head. Hits him in the temple or something. But that was a pretty drained Sam Patterson, so you never know. Moving on. Muhammad Saidov, I think his name is Magomed Saidov, versus Dustin Jacoby. Jacoby is a very, very tricky light heavyweight. Not tricky enough to beat Alonzo Menifield twice, but, that is crazy in hindsight. Someone so technical couldn't even... I think it's just the power difference. I still can't believe that. Has a win over Petrino. Saidov is, he's a kickboxer-ish kind of guy. I haven't seen too much of him. Jacoby's the safe bet here. Pretty sure he'll win, but these odds are quite strange. I don't believe they would be this close, ideally, but the Russians are insane animals sometimes. Oh yeah, he's probably, yeah. Well, we got a blob versus a semi-blob. Walter Walker will easily win this. He's just going to charge at him like a retard and just grab his leg immediately. That's pretty much what's going to happen quite early on first round. Thomas Peterson does have a grappling background, I believe, in wrestling, but I don't know. He is just a blob at the end of the day. Could get dicey. Wow. Another just random, no-faced fighter coming out of nowhere. Abu Bakar Vagaev, whatever the hell his dumb name is. They're all the fucking same. Ayavov it's the same goddamn shit. That's all they do. They just add the EV to the end of the name, and there you go. There's your next UFC champion sometimes. You never know. I don't know anything about this guy. I heard he's a decision merchant. Seiji doesn't really show too much promise of finishes. He lost to Nicholas Dalby in a very close fight. They're both the same height. You never know. It could get interesting here. I have Seiji decision. You could probably out-decision the decision master, but you never know. It might be boring as shit, so I might not watch this fight. On the main card, the opener of the main card, no less. Ridiculous shit. Rizvan Cunha versus Tyrell Fortune. This is a blob, but he has muscle coming off his PED cycles. Tyrell Fortune didn't look... He didn't finish Tybura. So it's not a very great look. Because Tybura isn't really a guy you should be going to competitive decisions with anyway. I think Kuniev will win. I think he's more skillfully balanced. But Tyrell Fortune does train with Waldo Cortez Acosta, if that means anything. Couldn't. You never know. But I'm pretty sure that's all that means. So it could get tricky here. A little trickier for Kuniev. And Kuniev does have some good... He had a good debut, but he didn't win it against Blades. The fact he made that fight a competitive, close fight is pretty impressive in a debut like that. But you look at Josh Hockett, so... And if you look at their opponents they've beaten, I think it's safe to say Kuniev has the better opponents beaten, but that doesn't really matter here. Fortune could... No, I don't think so. He does have a puncher's chance. All blobs do, but not very likely here. I got Kuniev. Decision or second, third round, late round KO near the end. Magomed Zayunukov versus Damian Rezbecki. Or whatever. Rezbecki. Yeah, sounds right. Zayunukov has pillow hands. If you can't even finish... Well, I mean, that guy was kind of tough, but the fact he couldn't finish that guy after, beating his face and turning into friggin' ground beef is not a great look. And Rezbecki is a fucking finisher. Like, he finishes people. I'm pretty sure he has a good amount of submission wins. And he's like a gritty kind of fighter. And he's like, I'm all about the danger. Zayunukov could beat him, like, the very first 2 rounds. Just puts on a volume pace that Rezbecki can't, match with. But I don't think that's going to happen. I'm pretty sure Zayunukov isn't the greatest on the ground. He does slow in that 3rd round. You could see it in his Contender Series fight. He did slow a little bit, or a bit, from my memory. Rezbecki, not too much I know about that guy, but I know he can put that pressure on somebody. So it might be a tall task for Zayunukov. I have Rezbecki, but Zayunukov could 100% win it if he mixes it up or something. Highly doubt he does, just because he did also get dropped in that fight. And if you don't really have that respectable power, they're just going to walk through and trade with you constantly until either one of them goes down. Because Zayunukov doesn't have a lot of power, but it only takes one perfect punch or exchange to get a finish. And Rezbecki probably won't respect that kind of volume puncher power a little bit. Maybe he will a little bit. Probably not a lot, though. So it could be an interesting matchup for sure. But I have Rezbecki a decision. He could get a first round sub, but highly unlikely due to Zayunukov's cardio, so he'll be ready to grapple with him. But it could be dangerous if they get dry and they're in a grappling exchange in the very beginning. Moving on. Islam Dulatov versus a complete can. I wonder who's going to win this. It's very simple. You pick Dulatov. I believe he did, duck Reese McKee. That's what he told me, unironically. In post-production, I will put the tweet on the screen. But he's not active like that, and he's not really fully committed, so he might have a tough time against better competition in, like, the second and third. He's a first-round finisher. I highly doubt he's gonna lose this fight. I'm pretty sure he's just gonna get him in, like, the very first 2 minutes, just elbow, hook, knockout. Turman isn't that good. He hasn't fought in 3 years, and he got submitted by Jared Gooden, who's complete trash, and got cut from the UFC with that goofy-ass fucking pad work against fucking Themba Garimba or some shit. And the damn Apex. Yeah, Islam Dulatov, easy KO round 1. Very easy one to predict. Very simple prediction. It's a layup. Why? Who knows? I mean, I think he could have beaten Reese McKee quite easily, but McKee is always a tricky customer no matter who he's fighting. Alright, the co-main event. Steve Erceg versus Ramazan Temirov. This is very important to note. I've seen a lot of comparisons between Temerov and Kai Kara-France. The differences are, Kai Kara-France had a reach advantage over Steve, but he was the same height, so it was deceptively a long reach. Temerov still does have the T-Rex arms. Not saying he can't shin him, but a 6-inch, comparing the Kai Kara-France disadvantage in the reach could play out a lot differently. And if Steve grapples, I think it's going to be an easy time if he puts that pace on him early on. But he's probably going to jab him to a 3-round decision pretty clearly. Could get a finish in the third, because Temerov does not have the best gas tank. And there's a reason why he was on that heart medication that supposedly he didn't know about. And I'm sure this guy needs heart medication for sure, right? Outside the UFC for so long, I'm sure he needs it. But it's just like all first round finishers don't really got that kind of cardio for more than 2 rounds, as you saw in the Charles Johnson fight. But you never know. Ursig decision is quite clear. He'll grapple with him. He has good grappling skills. People forget that he's like a freestyle champion or something like that in the lower division of the grappling. I think like 130 or something. And Temerov, he does have the power, but against who? He didn't knock out Charles Johnson like Alex Perez did. He took him to a decision. He knocked out CJ Vergara. He didn't even hold him. He kind of just scared him, and then he started running, and then he got punched in the body. He literally had to run after Vergara. And Vergara isn't good. He's cut from the UFC for a reason. He had 1 win. The main event, Magomed Ankalaev versus Bogdan Guskov. This one is an interesting fight. I think Ankalaev could either one of 2 things. Take Bogdan's soul after the first 3 or during the 3rd round. 3rd to 4th round. Because this is a short notice fight for Bogdan. And he was going to fight Jan Blachowicz, I think, next week. So there's not too much changed. But I don't know if the game plans are going to stay the same for either guy or if they're going to stay the same. That is another thing, that Ankalaev was training for Khalil Roundtree, who's supposedly a power puncher KO artist. Didn't even finish Jamal Hill. Took him 5 rounds. But Guskov does have that weird kind of power where he can pop out of nowhere and drop you. But he doesn't have the best cardio whatsoever. He beat Billy Elicana. He got dominated the first round, if I ain't mistaken. He got taken down and his back taken. So skillfully, it's not really all shaped up yet, especially in that grappling aspect, because Ankalaev can grapple. He does have a decent chin. Ankalaev has a chin. He has been dropped by Thiago Santos. But the right hand he ate from Pereira, it did hurt him, but he didn't go out from that. That big-ass overhand that he ate, that is insane in hindsight. Because, friggin' Yuri was getting dropped by left hooks and shit, like, walking in. But that's insane power. And he did beat Pereira before the gauntlet fight, so I think skillfully Ankalaev is way better. Guskov being the same height could be a little interesting, because I'm pretty sure Khalil is like 5'10", so it is a shorter opponent. I think Ankalaev, 4th, later rounds finish, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and after the 3rd, more than likely will come a finish or a decision. But you never know. Guskov could just, launch a right hand like Pereira or copy the game plan and pressure. But, he was getting outskilled by Jan Blachowicz, so you can't really tell on these. It's going to be an interesting fight. I think I got Ankalaev late round finish or decision. He's skillfully better than Guskov for sure. Well, we got nobodies on the main card, but that's always every Abu Dhabi card. Who, like, I haven't really heard of that guy, but I've seen highlights. They just bring in anybody, bro. Pretty sure Jacoby was supposed to fight some Brazilian guy. I think he was supposed to fight, some guy. I think Tobias something. I'm not quite sure. But he was supposed to fight some Brazilian on the prelims here. This is pretty clear cut. Pretty sure Hussein was supposed to fight some debutant, I'm pretty sure. And Gibson took it on short notice. But you can never really tell with these kind of fights. You can't. So these could all be wrong picks, but these are pretty clear cut and dry picks in my opinion. So, that's pretty much it. Minor breakdown. Just some picks out of boredom. There's nothing to do but wait. And this isn't a very good look for the UFC by just... We put the best against the best. Dulatov versus a guy who ain't fought in 3 years. But he's in the UFC. I don't care. Put him against somebody actually active, Adam Fujic is trash. He's cut from the UFC again. For a reason. Because he sucks. UFC got to go back to the drawing board. The matchmaker needs to rethink his decisions here. This makes zero goddamn sense. Alright, bye.